give a very brief overview of the basics so that you can start playing quickly. To learn more about the game, including a detailed explanation of each station, tactical tips, and more on anti-submarine warfare, please see our tutorial videos on Steam. The bridge is where you control the destroyer's maneuvers. You can click and drag the helm to steer left and right, or on any number on the helm indicator to turn the helm by that many degrees. You can also type in a new course by clicking on the helm icon. Your current course can be read from the compass. In the top left corner of the screen, you can see the target bearing indicator. It tells you where the U-boat is in relation to the destroyer, as long as you have it on radar or sonar target bearing. If you don't, it shows where the sonar transceiver is currently pointing at. The three lines on the inner disk always show true north. You can control the speed via the engine order telegraph by clicking on any speed setting to select it. Let's now change stations. You can move to the Combat Information Center by clicking on Combat. Combat is where you build your situational awareness and plan your attack. The radar can detect surface targets, but doesn't work against submerged targets. Our position is in the center, and the numbers around the display refer to cardinal points. North is 0/360 degrees. This is the convoy that you are protecting. Prevent the U-boat from reaching it at all cost. Once a U-boat appears on the radar man will start reporting on it, and you will be able to mark its position with the Dead Reckoning Tracer, DRT. You can click on DRT to bring up the DRT view. The DRT is a plot table that can greatly help your situational awareness. The moving light represents our destroyer. It also has compass bearings on its outer circumference. You can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out, or click it and hold to scroll the camera around. The two available scales are 1 to 1,000 yard and 1 to 1,000 yard. You can click on the center of the moving light to mark your current position. Then, listen to reports from radar or sonar to mark the enemy position. You can do that by snapping the ruler's 0 point to the most recent destroyer position, pivoting the ruler to the appropriate bearing, and clicking next to the ruler at the appropriate distance. Click and drag the disk or the ruler to change its position. Updating the plot regularly will help your understanding of enemy maneuvers and your maneuvers in relation to theirs. You can also snap the ruler to previous destroyer positions, as well as the two most recent U-boat positions. This allows you to estimate both destroyer and U-boat courses. After snapping the ruler to a point of reference, you can draw lines by clicking and dragging the mouse along the ruler. If the plotting space becomes too crowded, you can erase everything by clicking on the eraser button. If the elbow joint of the protractor arm gets in the way, you can click on it to move it to the other side. If the moving light reaches the edge of the table, you can click on it and drag it along the table to adjust it to a desired position. Lastly, if you find manual plotting too difficult, remember that you can turn autopilot on in the pause menu. You can also adjust course and speed from combat. Now let's take a look at a tool for close-range plotting. You can move to the OSC projector by selecting it at the bottom of the screen. The own ship's course and target bearing projector is extremely useful when you are approaching a U-boat to make a depth charge attack. It shows the destroyer silhouette, its current course, and where the sonar transceiver is pointing. You can also mark U-boat positions on it, which will help you visualize U-boat maneuvers during your attack approach. click on the eraser icon to clear the plot. Still, to successfully attack a submerged U-boat, you must first learn how to use the equipment in the sonar room. You can move to the sonar room by clicking on Sonar. Sonar lets you track submerged U-boats, and it is absolutely essential that you learn how to use it. You can search for the U-boat manually by clicking and dragging the sonar indicator. You can also order a search arc of 90 or 180 degrees. You can use the icons on the right to control search arc width and the direction of the sweep. You can click on the highlighted search arc outline and drag it to a new position to change the search arc. As soon as the sonar man gets an echo, he will continue to track the target and report to you the same way the radar man reports, but with additional information about detected U-boat maneuvers. Pay close attention to the sonar man's reports, especially when it comes to estimated depth and sudden evasive maneuvers performed by the U-boat. Now, if you remember only one thing from this tutorial, remember this: sonar does not work at speeds above a head standard. You also cannot hear the enemy behind the stern of the destroyer or under the convoy due to propeller noise. Moreover, you will lose sonar contact whenever you get close to the U-boat, and you will also get no sonar echo through the area where your depth charges have recently exploded. Now, let's look at the depth charge targeting device called the Tactical Range Recorder, TRR. The TRR tracks distance to target and will give you the optimal time to fire a depth charge barrage, provided that you set it right. In its bottom right corner, there is a gauge with destroyer speed in knots, horizontal, as well as depth charge sinking time in seconds, vertical. You need to set the speed in accordance with how fast the destroyer is going in knots. Check on the left-hand side of the screen if in doubt. Then, you need to set the sinking time for the depth charges, which should be set either shallow, 10 seconds, medium, 30 seconds, or deep, 50 seconds. Left-click and drag the pointer onto the appropriate setting on the scale. Once you set sinking time and destroyer speed, left-click and drag to rotate the transparent plotter bar to match the angle of the graph. You have to be as precise as you can, as the angle will give you the right range rate, which in turn will give you the optimal time to fire. The longer you track the target and the longer the graph becomes, the easier it is to align the plotter bar accurately. You should fire the depth charge barrage when the left edge of the graph crosses the dotted firing line. Remember, first set destroyer speed and depth charge sinking time, then rotate the plotter bar and fire once the left edge of the graph crosses the firing line. Here is where you prepare depth charges. Before firing, they must be set for the given depth, shallow, medium, or deep. You can click on one of the three icons on the left side of the screen, from top to bottom, shallow, medium, deep, to select the desired depth. After the depth charges have been prepared, the icon will change to signal that the barrage is ready. Click on the readied icon to fire. Now let's see how to deal with a surfaced U-boat. You can move to the gun director station by clicking on Gun Director. The gun director allows you to attack a surfaced U-boat with gunfire. You can press the left mouse button and move the mouse to traverse and elevate the guns. Wait for the reticles of all the gun mounts to center on target, then press spacebar to fire. The icons on the right allow you to zoom in, switch to radar aim, turn on the searchlights, and change ammo to illumination rounds, more on which later. Let us now go outside and get a better view of the surroundings. You can move to lookouts stations by clicking on Lookouts. The lookouts are the eyes of the ship. You can press the left mouse button and move the mouse to look around. Lookouts allow you to get a good idea of how to maneuver within the convoy, but they will also report on anything they see, including the U-boat, its periscope, or any effects of your hits scored against the U-boat. Lookouts have a very limited range of vision, but you can greatly improve it by launching star shells or using the searchlight from the gun director. They are most useful if you suspect the U-boat is about to assume an attack position, but you cannot find it with either radar or sonar. Please bear in mind that the information presented in the tutorial doesn't even come close to representing the depth of the game, and is only intended to get you started. If you wish to learn how to play, please make sure to see our tutorial videos on Steam. Thank you for completing the tutorial, and good luck hunting.